Welcome to First Dates and Soulmates, where sometimes love just needed a 15-year break and the most epic Keanu Reeves cameo of all time. I am Nikki McKnight.
I'm Meg Casebolt.
And on today's episode, we are continuing our Friends to Lovers theme by talking about the Netflix original film, Always Be My Maybe. And I don't know about you, Meg, but I've had the Mariah Carey song stuck in my head. Boom. Yeah. Last time we had a Rihanna karaoke hour. We found Love in a Hopeless Place. And now we're doing Mariah Carey.
We're just going back in time with all the divas.
I love it. All right. This is the 2019 made-for-Netflix film written by Ali Wong, Randall Park, and Michael Golemko, directed by Nahnatchka Khan. And Meg, what is your relationship history with this film? Had you seen it before?
I found it in a list of Friends to Lovers movies and said, Nikki, do you want to watch this one? That's my...
So it was not a movie you had seen. Had you known about it? Like, had it kind of popped up
I
on
hadn't
your Netflix
heard of
phone?
it. No, I don't watch a ton of TV, and so like I sort of missed because it came out later than I stopped watching TV. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's still pretty new, pretty fresh, and I'm also not great at catching the straight to Netflix movies. I feel like I'm even worse at that than I am for ones that have been to the box office. But I am familiar with Ali Wong and Randall Park, so I saw their faces and was like, okay, I would like to see this. So I think you narrowed it down to 3 for today, and I was like, that one is the one that I want.
There you go.
Also, the tomato meter was the highest of the 3 that you narrowed it down to, and I was like, well, that's a choice. That's how I choose things. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even look at the tomato meter. The other contenders were what? The Duff and Rosie?
Love Rosie.
Yeah, all of those are great. All of them I've seen.
I would have watched any of them. We saw a list of 20, we narrowed it down to 3, and then I let the tomatoes decide.
Beautiful.
Which I feel like will be really important for next week's conversation.
I like it. Let the tomatoes decide. It's like when you have like the Super Bowl dogs or like the NHL octopus or whatever. They're like, whichever one they choose. Like, you're letting tomatoes decide for
Let
you.
the tomatoes decide.
Where else can tomatoes decide things for you? This is the big question. All right. So Always Be My Maybe is about 2 childhood best friends, Sasha, played by Ali Wong, Marcus, played by Randall Park, who grew up next door to each other in San Francisco. Best friends since childhood. Ali Wong, or Sasha's parents, were often working, so she was left to her own devices. She became very close with Marcus's family, especially his mom, Judy, who taught her how to cook, and they had a very close relationship. Marcus's mother dies when they are teenagers, and in the grief, they hook up in the back of Marcus's car, and relationship kind of starts, but there's drama involved, and so they split up and they lose touch for 15 years. In the intervening years, Sasha has become a very famous celebrity chef who is opening a new restaurant in San Francisco. Marcus is still living at home, working with his dad in his HVAC company, playing in the same band, and is very much stuck in the past. So they reconnect, and sparks do fly, as they do in a rom-com. But they got a lot of baggage, a lot of different ambitions between the two of them, very different lifestyles. Sasha, at the beginning of the film, had just kind of broken up or put things on pause with her fiance, played by a very sexy Daniel Day-Kim. And they kind of start a friendship. They start dating other people, including the aforementioned Keanu Reeves cameo. And ultimately, they do get together. But again, going back to the very different ambitions and direction in life causes that breakup. But ultimately, at the end of it all, Marcus grows up. Sasha remembers what is important to her. And they embark on a very adult friendship and romantic relationship. And it is quite lovely. That is Always Be My Maybe. Genius title, by the way.
Nikki, that was the best recap.
I hit the high points.
Like, without getting distracted by some of the side characters, and like, that was so concise and well done. You hit all the main points. What you just said at the end though about the best title, I have no idea why it was named that. That was one of my biggest things was like, why is this called Always Be My Maybe? Because I didn't think that
Mariah Carey song Always Be My Baby.
I know, and it played during the outro, but other than that, I was like, that was one of my very few complaints about this movie, is like, I didn't feel like the title actually fit what was happening in the plot, but I loved this movie.
You don't know the Mariah Carey song?
I know the Mariah Carey song. Okay. I don't see how the Mariah Carey song is applicable to this storyline.
You've Always Been a Part of Me.
Yeah, that's
one of the
just
lyrics
any
of the song?
friends. That's any childhood friends. What's the maybe? Because they changed. It wasn't always be my baby. It's always be my maybe.
No.
What was there was no maybe in this. They were in or out all the time. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Love
It's a
how
great
you went
movie.
deep into this.
I was humming the song for the past week and going, but why was it called that?
I do like it. All right. Where do we want to start? What I want to start with is I love how this film immediately set a very recognizable stage with Sasha coming home from school as a latchkey kid.
Yeah.
Playing the message on the answering machine. Like there's just something about that that's so immediately set a time period for me. Like I was never a latchkey kid. My mom didn't go back to work until my brother and I were probably 10 and 12. But there was just something about that moment. It's like, oh, I immediately know who she is. She's going to be a little bit emotionally closed off because she's been left to her own devices for a long time. She's going to become incredibly self-reliant and probably is going to have a little bit of a I don't need nobody. Which I like for her.
Yeah. And then they did the exact same thing with Marcus, instantly setting him as I have this strong family. And they're the most important thing to me. You know, he comes over and does this huge, adorable, cute little kid rant about like, I don't want to bring soup to school.
Yeah.
Don't make me be the
kid with the thermos.
kid.
I don't want to be the thermos kid.
So you instantly get that feeling of almost like helicopter overprotection or like deeply, deeply connected to his roots and to his family in a way that Sasha doesn't have because her parents are always working. You know, San Francisco ain't a cheap city.
No.
And so she's able to come next door and start to cook in the kitchen and connect with his mother and have that relationship with another parent, with an older generation, and really connect in the kitchen, which is so important to her career. And her arc is her relationship with his mother and not her own mother. So that instantly sets up his feelings. And I know that, you know, especially in Asian cultures, there's this feeling of respect for parents, respect for elders, needing to be there for your parents. And you see that instantly from Marcus's character as well.
I really like how quickly the film set the stage, right? Like kids on the doorstep, come next door to my house. And like, you know, they laugh and they walk down one set of stairs and up the immediate ones next door, you know, montage of them hanging with his family and going to photo booths and, you know, doing these things together. It's automatically creating the relationship really quickly, which is good because this story is really about what happens later, like 15 years after they have their blowout fight. So they set the stage really quickly. I think I said in my notes that I was taking while I was watching it, montage, mom dies, sex, now it's the future.
Yeah.
And I really admire the expediency with which it's set up because I don't think I needed anything else to establish what their relationship was because anything else we learn about the relationship when they were younger comes from other characters. Like her best friend, Vanessa, played by Michelle Buteau, who love her
Adore
so much.
her.
Love her so
Oh my
much.
God.
She's talking about like, I always thought this or you were always this. And same thing with his dad. I always thought this about you. So it's reinforcing their past relationship and their origins without us having to spend too much time in the origins to kick off the movie. Like montage, mom dies, sex, now it's future. Like, let's go.
Well, especially because as we were talking about in last week's episode, it's like so much of Friends to Lovers is history. It's that shared history and that like knowing each other when you're goofy or things aren't going your way. And so you didn't need all of that. You needed like that initial meet cute moment of the friendship igniting. And then the montage did so much of that work. And you see the relationship that she gets with the mom before the mom dies. But also, you know, I've been talking about this a lot with my friend Megan Flatt, who came on about a year ago to talk about her work in progress during NaNoWriMo, which is a Friends to Lovers second chance novel. And so I have beta read this book several times, and Megan and I are always having these conversations about her particular plot line, which is two childhood friends in San Francisco. One of them moves to LA to start her career. She's in PR. He's a firefighter, but he stays home. He stays with his family. There's a lot of correlations here, which got me thinking about this. But I asked Megan recently when she was doing revisions, is your book a Friends to Lovers book, or is it a second chance book? Because I think that this movie, and the reason I'm bringing this up here is because I think this movie is billed as Friends to Lovers, but I think it's actually a second chance movie. They just met when they were kids, but they were not friends for the full 15 years. And then they had to reestablish that friendship later on as adults. And I think it's smart that they did it that way because of the tension of their different ambitions. Because Sasha has gone off to establish her restaurants and Marcus feels a little bit stuck and trapped with his dad in the HVAC business. You know, he's still in the same band. There's still so much that was the same in his life that she has outgrown. And maybe she hasn't outgrown, but she feels like she had to grow up quickly. And so, you know, I see this as absolutely fitting under the category of friends to lovers, but I also see it almost more as a second chance.
Yeah, I think like what you said last time, there's such like an overlap between those that oftentimes if it's a friends to lovers, it would include something like a second chance because there's something that's kind of disrupting the friendship. I do like, so what I would like to talk about when that first schism happens.
Yes.
Like what the incident that like separates them because they were so tight. And, you know, Marcus's mom has just died in an accident. Obviously, everybody is wrecked. Like that scene of his dad going in the kitchen going, I don't know where the coffee filters are. I don't know where she kept them. I was like, oh my God, I'm heartbroken for this man. It was such like a distinct way of like how much he relied on her in that way for these things. And, you know, I don't remember the exact lead up to it, but, you know, Sasha says something along the lines of like, I lost her too, you know, and we know that it's because her mom is not really present in her life.
Her mom has not shown up at all. Her mom has not been on the screen.
We don't see her parents until 70% of the movie.
Yeah, at least 50%.
Yeah, and like she says, like, you know, I lost her too, and he kind of hits her back with, "Don't presume to know how I feel. She wasn't your mom."
Oof.
And Sasha gets hurt by that, which is like especially since they had sex. I didn't quite get the timeline between when they hooked up in the backs of his car to when they left. Like, I don't really have a feel on how long that time period was.
It seemed to me like it was very quick, where it was like driving home from the funeral.
Yeah.
And then they had sex in the back of the car, and then they went out to get like fast food because his car smelled too much like Parmesan cheese. Yeah. And then they like got into a big fight and then didn't talk for 15 years. It may have been like the day of the funeral. Yeah, it's hard to really know.
I feel like it was a fairly short period, and I think it's effective because it means they haven't had time to adjust to each other in this new thing, like we talked about in the last one, that when the first fight happens, first big fight, it's usually about something huge and not about something, I don't like how you snore, I don't like how you leave your shoes everywhere, because as friends, they would have seen that from each other already. So to have this big blowout of, she wasn't your mom, when Marcus knows full well how much of a mom Judy was to Sasha, like, but I also get where Marcus is coming from.
Yeah.
Like, acknowledge my pain, acknowledge what I'm going through, and don't make this all about you. So I totally see both sides. I think it's an appropriate fight for people their age. But like,
and for the amount of grief that the amount of grief that they're going through in that moment, and each of them has separate grief, and I think that especially when you like, when I lost my dad, I feel like I was just an irritable mess for a month, and we saw that coming, you know, because it's just like there's so much emotion that you hold and you carry, and you can't process it in a day. So the fact that they both tried to comfort each other physically with sex and then had this big falling out, not a surprise at all, even for like, you know, I was like 32 when my dad died. I wasn't 17. So it's one of those things where like you're so emotional, the stakes are high, the emotions are high, everything feels huge. And I loved that they used that as the catalyst to the pause in the relationship, or the end of the relationship as far as both of them was concerned, you know?
Yeah. And I like how they contrast it with, because like the sex in the back of his tiny little car was pretty funny and gross, but like in a way that, again, made sense for who these characters were.
For 16 or 17-year-olds,
yeah. This was not romantic. This was not cool.
This was not preconceived. This was something that they both fell into in the heat of the moment. Like,
which was quite funny. I liked that as a piece of their lore.
Yeah. And then later on as adults, where she's like, I can't believe that happened in the back of a Corolla. Like, you couldn't have taken me out to a hotel. And he's like, you think I had money for a hotel at that age? You know, like, so there's still, the ambition is still there, even in the future, looking back on that moment where, you know, they both, it seems they both lost their virginity in that moment too. So it was it was a surprise to both of them, but they also shared that piece of connection in that moment. So to then have your heart shattered a second later, an hour later, certainly would be a huge catalyst to change.
Yeah, it's a lot, especially since pretty much from then, that's when Sasha, like, if they had both stayed in the same city, I would have been curious to see what would have happened after such like a huge fight. Yeah. But like Sasha left, right? Like, she left San Francisco and she went on to the next thing, which brings us to their first meeting back. I think this is fucking hilarious in this movie.
I love this. Okay, so Sasha moves back to San Francisco because she has set up her empire in LA. You know, her fiance sort of hasn't called off the wedding, but basically has called off the wedding.
Yeah. To find himself with Padma Lakshmi.
I love that so much. And so, you know, she goes, okay, the next stage of this building of restaurant empire is to go to San Francisco. She rents a house for a few months, and her assistant calls Marcus's family's HVAC unit to come service it. And she says, Vanessa, the assistant, says that she thinks it'll just be Mr. Kim. It won't also be Marcus. But maybe she knew all this time.
And I think Sasha even calls her on that. It's called Kim and Son.
Yes.
Who do you think the son is? Yeah.
And that's the moment in the trailer that they start from is Sasha and Vanessa having that conversation about this sort of setup, about this situation where they got thrust back together after all this time, after this schism had happened.
And I think both Ali Wong and Randall Park play that reunion moment so well. Because when Mr. Kim arrives, he sees Vanessa and is like, oh, it's you. Amazing. He doesn't even know Sasha's there yet. Yeah. And they're like, oh, Mr. Kim, I'm so happy to see you. And Marcus is like, oh, hey, congratulations on the house and the baby. And she's like, thank you. Also, not my house. Enter Sasha. And Mr. Kim and Sasha are like, I love that moment. She is so excited to see his dad. She's like, oh, like the moment where they give like that big hug, I was like, oh my God, I feel like Mr. Kim gives the greatest hugs.
Yes.
It's so sweet. And I love that when she sees Marcus, she is playing it with barely restrained anger and frustration, whereas he is just like really awkward. But, like, I love that like Ali Wong with like her choice to play Sasha as angry and like frustrated, maybe. I love because it's like barely restrained. Hello, Marcus, and he's like, oh, yeah, HVAC here, awkward man. I think was so funny to get them back together with.
Yeah, and cool. I think also like to your point at the beginning about once you saw Sasha as latchkey kid, as being alone, we sort of expected this sort of cold, closed off, very professional, here's the way that things are going to be. And then we also know that Sasha has just been dumped, essentially, right before this. So she's already feeling probably a little bit shielded, a little bit emotional, but she doesn't want to show anything. So she's even more restrained and contained than usual. And so to then have this piece of her history sort of thrown back at her without any time to prepare for that, she just shuts down. You see the shut. Yes, it's angry, but it's also just cold.
Yeah. Like immediately the walls go back up. The protection is up. Because if you think about it, the last time they talked, it was Marcus saying, she was my mom, not yours. Like, God, stop making this about you, essentially, which is so hurtful. So it's like the immediate next thing for her is like, oh, he hurt me so badly. Well, how do you think Marcus, like for me, I think Sasha would obviously feel very angry after their fight when she left. How do you think Marcus felt after their fight in the interim, like up to this re-meeting?
I think insufficient.
That's a good word for him.
You know, he is so stuck in the world that he was in. You know, I don't know the exact age that he was when his mother passed, but let's say it was 15 years prior. It was 15 years prior. Let's say he was 17 and I was 32. I don't know. Yeah. But he has not advanced. And so to look at somebody who was your next door neighbor, which means they went to the same schools, they lived in the same neighborhood, they were the same sort of demographic. And then to see how high she has risen while you are still driving that 20-year-old car, because it was old then.
It was old when he got it. Yeah.
It was maybe 10 years old. It was a 25-year-old car. And to feel like she's done so much and I have done nothing. And he's there, you know, in the same band, smoking weed most nights, just like very unambitious, but he has justified it to himself as like, well, I'm my dad's caregiver.
And his dad's like, what the fuck? I can put needles in my own ass. Thank you. Yeah, like it's interesting because I think for all that Marcus grew up with really amazing parents, it feels like he's not a very emotionally intelligent person.
Oh, no.
Especially around Sasha. Like, which is weird, I think, a little bit for me. Like, out of the two of them, I would expect Marcus to be a better communicator because he grew up in such a loving family that he saw love modeled and knew he was loved, whereas Sasha didn't really get that with her parents. And she has a scene with them later in the film where she calls them out. You were never around. You never supported me. It feels like all you do is, talk about money and how to save money and criticize the way that I live. That again, I thought Marcus should have been a better communicator. He's a man, so maybe not. But that meeting back, I like the insufficient, inadequate vibe of like, oh, also look at the size of this fucking house. That's a gorgeous house.
In San Francisco.
Yeah.
Or Bay Area, but not
Area.
a cheap market to be in.
No, not at all.
And yet he is, is he living with his dad or is he just in a shitty apartment?
He's living with his dad. No, he's living with his dad because he says in a voicemail to her near the end of the movie, I've finally moved out. I have my own place and it's shitty.
Yeah, it's still shitty. The class relationships of this are so good, especially once you get Keanu involved, but we won't go there yet.
Not yet.
But, she has this super high-end restaurant that is, what was the word that they used for it? Non-denominational?
Yeah. Non-denominational,
which is just
like fusion.
Yeah, just like so hoity-toity.
Yeah.
And then he has this, very middle class, maybe lower middle class life where he isn't ambitious. He isn't trying to escape it. Instead, he's really like mired in it. He's still in the same band. The band is good, but he doesn't even want to go across town. He doesn't want to go to the other side of San Francisco for gigs because no one knows them there. And like, he's so comfortable. They had that example of like, do you know how long it took me to get you to drink cold brew? Because it was new. And then now
like,
all you drink is cold brew.
I love cold brew.
Like he's so... Going back to our navel gazing conversation, he's so self-centered. He's so self-aggrandizing. He doesn't see anything outside of himself or what his role is because he doesn't want to be uncomfortable ever.
No, and he sees his actions as virtuous.
Yeah,
I'm in my neighborhood. I haven't lost my roots. I'm connected to family. I'm connected to town. And you, Sasha, have no connections then by default, which is why I love it when they have awkward conversations while they're in the house doing the repairs and she's kind of on the phone and they don't have to talk, her phone voice. And he's like, you're doing that thing. You're doing phone voice. And she goes, I don't have a phone voice. And she says, bye to Vanessa. And she's like, bitch, don't use your phone voice on me. Love Michelle Buteau. But there's a thing when they're on their way out and his dad, being the meddler that he is, and I fucking love his dad, is like, oh, you should come see his band play. I'm going to get you a flyer. And he's like, Dad. It's like, it's so like dad to like teenage boy vibes. I'm like, I'm gonna get a flyer. Dad, don't do that. No, I'm gonna get a flyer. They're really good. Like, here you go. So that's ultimately what keeps the connection going. Is she goes to their show and is like, oh, well, shit, they're good. And she knows some of the bandmates because
they all grew up together.
Name. Not all of them, because it's only one original guy from the band. I can't remember.
The guy who lost 50 pounds and Marcus didn't notice. I can't remember what the character's name is, though.
I want to say Ravi, but I don't remember. But like she goes to the show and that's like they start talking again because of that. And I just love it because I think Friends to Lovers needs to have meddlers involved. Yeah. And we have Vanessa. She knew what she was doing when she called Mr. Kim's age back. She fucking knew what she was doing. But also, Mr. Kim is a meddler. And I love that this is a portrayal of an Asian father who's really fun. Like when he walks into Marcus's bedroom, was like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm having a dance party and smoking weed. Do you want to join? And there's like a beat and you're like, oh, he's going to be like, get some ambition, Marcus. He starts doing the dance party. And I'm like, holy shit, like Mr. Kim is really fun. So it was so nice to see an Asian father who is not how they're traditionally depicted as get good grades, be a lawyer, whatever. No, he's fucking dancing with his son. He
ends up with Diana Ross.
Yeah, the impersonator, yes. No, the actual Diana Ross. No, but like, I just love it when those plotters are coming in, and that's what's moving them forward through their relationship initially. Is Vanessa has set up this hopeful meeting. Mr. Kim, I feel like he and Vanessa kind of knew what they were doing in a way. He's like, I see you.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my son's band flyer. And then they just kind of keep going like that. I really enjoyed Mr. Kim. I thought he was so fun.
And then they go to see the band, and Marcus's girlfriend is there. And she's like, I have to cook for you. And it's this like super high-end chef Sasha eating Vienna sausage. And I'm like, oh, this is so awkward. This is so good. She's like, I didn't even know Asian women could have dreads. Like the whole thing is so San Francisco.
What's his girlfriend's name? Jenny? Yeah, I think it's
Jenny.
Jenny.
I think it's Jenny.
And she's like goes to beat poetry and she runs like drama and drum circles. Again, very different from Sasha.
And he's like, well, she works with kids. She's of the neighborhood. She's engaged with the community. And he thinks that that's it. But then his friends, we'll call him Ravi, is like, oh, gosh, she sucks. That's why I bailed on dinner.
Sorry, his name is Tony. The character's name is Tony. Yeah.
But like, there's that moment where Marcus is like, why'd you leave after that? And he's like, what'd you say? I thought did you just change the subject? You know, like, because no one wants to acknowledge that Jenny's kind of a weirdo and nobody really likes her, and they all want him back with Sasha, but Sasha's way out of his league now.
Yeah.
Sasha was always out of his league, but now she's even more out of his league than before.
Yeah. I wish the movie had spent a little bit more time on their relationship coming back, but I think they did a decent job with showing the text messages back and forth because it allowed the audience to see the progression of their relationship as like these tentative touch bases. Like the day after Jenny cooks for her, she finds the thing on like how Asian people can do dreadlocks and like texts it to Marcus, and she goes, this was keeping me up all night. And he says something about the fact that there's crochet hooks involved. And he's sending her things back, and then there's a thing where she's catering a rap party for a new Kevin James project, and she starts to text him, I'm at the rap party, what you doing? But then he deletes it, and he's at Jenny's slam poetry night, and he goes, I'm at a slam poetry night, what you doing? And they both delete the messages. So I do like how they kind of show like they fall back into their natural rhythm of wanting to talk to each other, of doing their jokes. Again, the writing in this, their repartee is so fucking fantastic. But like you see them start doing it tentatively, and then they start making fun of each other. And for me, that's such a great example of friends to lovers, is when they can say stupid shit about each other and they just laugh and they start like one-upping each other in how they insult each other. And it's so good. It's so good.
And then finally, Marcus's dad, Mr. Kim, is like, you need to tell her how you feel. You need to tell her how you feel. And Marcus finally sort of comes to the realization that he's always had feelings for Sasha. And he's like,
very clueless, like, wait a minute, I love Josh at the end.
And then the fountain goes on in the background. No, I didn't realize you were talking about the Clueless movie. I thought you were just having a Clueless moment. And I was like, yeah, there's also that. But he goes and he's like, okay, I have to tell you something. And then as he's ready to tell her that he has feelings for her and they should give it a shot, she's like, I met someone. It's amazing. We had great sex. Like, you love him. Let's go on a double date with you and Jenny.
Sex. Yeah.
And it's one of the best cameos. And I would even say, like, maybe not even cameo, because it's multiple scenes, whereas I think of cameo being more of a, showing up and then leaving. But Keanu has a pretty substantial role in this movie.
Yeah, he's definitely there for a while. And before we dive into Keanu, because I think this is his best role he's ever done, I love that he filmed this while he was shooting the third John Wick movie.
God, really?
Yes, he was in. So part of Always Be My Maybe was filmed in Vancouver. But they filmed his scenes in San Francisco instead of Vancouver because of his schedule. He literally took 4 days off from John Wick to go film this movie. Like, Keanu Reeves, I sure hope we never find out anything bad about Keanu Reeves, because if he turns out to be a trash human,
God, we need just to keep him squeaky.
I think I might cry.
He's up there with Dolly Parton in terms of like people that you just want to be as good as they seem.
Oh my God. So they go to this restaurant, which is like this hoity-toity gastro, non-denominational, whatever. And, Marcus is already feeling...
They're listening on the noise canceling headphones to the sounds of the animals that they are eating, and Keanu's just crying.
Oh my God. So like... Jenny and Sasha and Marcus are in the restaurant, and it's very like weird and bougie, and Marcus is in a suit, and he's like, why is everybody so underdressed? And Sasha's like, oh, rich people don't want to look rich anymore. They're wearing $1,000 white t-shirts. And then she's like, oh my God, here he comes. And of course, if you've seen the trailer, you know who this is. I kind of wish I didn't know who it was.
I didn't know. It was completely a surprise to me. I didn't know. Okay. I didn't watch the trailer. It was so good.
I'm going to set the scene. She goes, here's my boo now. And what comes away is Sail by Styx. Mm-hmm. And Keanu is slow motion walking through the restaurant. And you just see Jenny and Marcus's face like, oh my God, Keanu Reeves. And it's fucking Keanu Reeves. And he and Sasha like grab each other and it's like, I missed your thighs. I missed your beard on my thighs. I missed your essence. And it is like so gross.
It's so gross. I do want to really quickly correct that it was Sail by AWOL Nation, not Sail by Styx, because
AWOL Nation.
Styx is come sail away. Come sail away.
The wrong sail. Wrong sail. Okay, so you did not know it was going to be Keanu Reeves, so please tell me your reaction to, oh my God, it's Keanu Reeves walking in fucking slow motion into this restaurant.
Slow motion, oh my God. All in black. It took me a minute to be like, is that Keanu Reeves? You know, like I had the exact same reaction as the characters in scene of like, they got Keanu?
I know.
For a Netflix movie?
I know.
And Ellie, like who did Ellie Wong know? To be able
to yeah, she has said in press, they had a couple of ideas for this, but they really wanted to cast someone Asian. That's why they have Daniel Day Kim as her original love interest, because they wanted really to focus Asian voices. And I believe Keanu is half Hawaiian.
I don't know exactly.
But like she said in an interview that she was kind of coming up with a list of like who are the really hot Asian men. Yeah. And they did not think they were going to get Keanu. So when they did get him, it was like, yeah. So he was born in Lebanon. We will change
all of our production schedule to get Keanu. We will change everything to get Keanu at that point.
Yeah. So Keanu was born in Lebanon. But his mom is English and his dad is native Hawaiian, Chinese, English, and Portuguese descent. And his grandmother is Hawaiian Chinese. So he does have Asian blood. It sounds weird. So he is of Asian descent. So that's why he was on Ali Wong's hit list. And she was kind of like, as the writer, as the executive producer, as the star, it was kind of like, which hot Asian guys do I want to have in my movie so that I get to make out with them? And I was like, oh, Daniel Day Kim, Randall Park, and Keanu Reeves. Fuck you, Ali Wong. Like, Jesus.
Nailed it, Ali Wong.
Why else should you become a powerful woman in Hollywood if not to kiss the hot men that you want to kiss? Feminism. I love it. And it's so funny because one of Marcus's criticisms of Sasha throughout the movie has been she's lost her cooking roots. She's not cooking the food that his mom taught her. That non-denominational conversation. They go to this restaurant and it's like the entire table is edible. Here's the black food course. And then, of course, they put on noise canceling earphones and they're eating like... They're hearing the sounds of the animal that they are eating as it is killed. Because Keanu says to them, do you have anything that plays with the concept of time? I love him so much, Meg.
I wonder, and I don't know if there's any way to know this, like how it was pitched to Keanu of like, we are just going to take you and amplify the reputation of being just completely a weirdo. Like how much of this was Keanu being like, yeah, I'll totally say that weird freaky shit, and it's so self-deprecating. It's like, it's not just you got Keanu for this role, it's got you got Keanu to play Keanu as a fake version of himself, I hope, right? Like if he was really the Keanu that he played there, he would not have played himself that way. Like he would not have agreed to play that character. So the fact that he's willing to be like making fun of himself, self-referential, but also like just completely out in left field. I loved it.
It was so, honestly, I could talk for another an hour about Keanu Reeves in this movie. But what I like about it too is it's contrasting with not of their world that they grew up in. Yeah. He's concept of time, and then eventually Keanu is like, "Let's go back to my hotel room. Like, let's hang out." And then they get into a big fight. Marcus punches Keanu Reeves and later writes a very catchy tune about it. But like Sasha is kind of like, what the fuck, Keanu? Like it really devolves really quickly. And that becomes the next inciting incident for Sasha and Marcus to hook up. Because Jenny is like, no, I'm staying with Keanu Reeves. One, don't blame your girl. Stay with Keanu. She says it's because like, you know, her drama programs or whatever, having celebrity attention is good for them. I think she just wants to fuck Keanu Reeves, which same. But, you know, Sasha and Marcus leave and they're in the car. Keanu's like, I'll call you an Uber. So we see them in the back of this Uber and then all of a sudden they start making out and then the camera pans back and you're like, oh, it's an Uber pool. There are other people in the car witnessing that.
There's so many great moments and reveals in this movie. Like the writing of it, the timing of it, the editing of it. It's so well timed.
Oh my God, it was so good. So let's talk about now their reunion. You know, they have sex in this Uber pool. They go home, you know, or they don't have sex in the Uber pool. They start making out in the Uber pool. They have sex at home. That'd be weird.
That'd be a very different type of pool.
Very different type of pool. But then it seems like it immediately jumps to their dating because there's a scene of Sasha going to a Hello Peril show and she's kind of saying to the other woman in the audience, that's my boyfriend. Like, you wish you could tap that. And I was kind of like, what do you mean boyfriend? How much time has passed here?
I don't know. I had the same reaction.
I couldn't determine if it was a bunch of time passing or if it was a way to show how quickly they fell back into a very close relationship. That's now.
Well, I think her entire time in San Francisco was 2 or 3 months too. So it had to have moved pretty quickly.
Yeah. It's pretty. So I just wish there had been the restart of their relationship had just been like a little bit more clear. And now that I say that, I'm like, well, that's probably why it breaks down so quickly is they did not have a conversation as they restarted their relationship about expectations or where are we going with this. It was like, cool, sex, we're doing this. And they don't have a conversation.
And I think that is absolutely how it broke down because then she's like, well, I'm leaving for New York. I thought you'd come with me. And there was never a like, do you want to come with me? And he's like, well, when are you coming back to San Francisco? Well, I'm not. And they did this all in public. So it was just, it was a very uncomfortable relationship. Even when they were together, there was never really a good time for the two of them. There was never really a honeymoon period. I appreciated that to an extent. I do love like a good honeymoon period and then an external reason for them to break up works because I felt like even when they were together, they weren't that happy together. So I didn't know why they were both holding on to it except for the history. That was maybe one of my biggest issues with it is I never saw, aside from the chemistry, I never saw that they really, I don't know if I believe these two are going to work.
Yeah, because we see them go to a red carpet and she's like, he's like, I thought you said rich people didn't dress up and he's just wearing a t-shirt. And of course, everybody else is in like red carpet glam. So
which like she would have said that before she got in the cab, like, or the limo.
She would not have let him look like that.
Yeah.
I think not so that she looks bad. I think she would have thought that he would be uncomfortable if he was that underdressed for a red carpet. So that was,
I know it's
weird.
A comedy.
Yeah. But like at the beginning of that scene, I thought, oh, he's going to feel disregarded and ignored. And it wasn't quite that. She was like, no, you look great. It's going to be fine. I have to go do this carpet thing. Could you hold my purse? And I thought he was going to have a moment of, holding her purse, which we didn't quite get. So I appreciated that it didn't go fully in that I'm feeling secondary to her again.
No, I think that did happen because he said like, she's like, oh, that's my new boyfriend. He's not of this world. And she saw it as a compliment and he saw it as an insult. He's just a regular guy. Like, there was definitely that feeling of being left behind or being disregarded because she didn't bring him on the red carpet with her. He was there to hold her purse, and that was it because she needs to have somebody there with her, not because she wanted him to be there. I think that was definitely established.
I had a little bit of a different read on it. Like, it's fairly common for partners not to go on red carpets for interviews. So, like, it didn't really be to me as like I'm ignoring, like the fact that she mentioned him at all I thought was fairly rare for these types of situations, but you know, different readings. And she does bring up like, hey, when I go to New York, would you be interested in coming with me? So she does ask him the first time, but when they bring it back up is when she's like, I thought you would come. And then that's when he says, well, when are you coming back? And she says, never, which I don't think that would be true, but pretty much saying never. And she says something along the line, I didn't write this down. She goes, you don't have to like my life, but you do have to support it, or something like that. And again, I'm like, this is the conversation that should have had, because I feel like she does, I think, come down way too hard on him on lack of ambition. You're never going to change. I think that's a little hitting below the belt, really.
Yeah,
like, I don't think
I
there's
agree.
anything wrong with staying. But I also think his criticism of her, you've forgotten who you are, is also unfair. You know, regardless of what ambition level there is, they have a good life. Each of them have a good life. So their fight really felt like punching below the belt on both sides to me, that I was like, ooh, if this is how you think about each other, I don't know if I want you to be together.
That's kind
Without
of where
a really good conversation.
Yeah, I mean, they both grew after that third act breakup, after the conflict there, and therefore they were maybe more likely to have those conversations in the future. But I actually thought that this, like, being from two worlds and resenting each other's world so much, I didn't know if they would be able to pull it off.
Yeah. And I wish there'd been a little bit more time on that change. I think we see it a little bit more in Marcus. So they have this big fight, and she's like, he doesn't go with her to this next thing that she's going to, this next red carpet, or she's going to New York, I think, for like this awards thing. And he's like, I'm not going. I don't want to go. And she is, I think, quite cruel to him in terms of his lack of ambition, and you're not going to go anywhere. And then he kind of talks to his dad, and he's like, this is not what your mom wants. He sees his dad starts dating again. He walks in on his dad and the Diana Ross impersonator, and he sees this, and they do go to the audition because they fucked it up the first time because he was drunk and upset over Sasha, but they do go back and they do it again, and they do well that time, and he's taken over merch, and they're doing all these things, and he's reaching out to her with voicemail. So I feel like he's doing a decent job and he moves out. I feel like he does recognize that maybe he has been a little bit too staid. He's been a little bit too complacent.
Stagnant. Yeah.
Yeah, stagnant. But I don't really... And then he does go to something in Mercy, the restaurant that she opened in San Francisco. He goes to her restaurant in San Francisco. And he does have a moment of when he comes in, he sees how beautiful it is. He sees how busy it is. And that's... he goes upstairs, and that's when he finds out that Sasha is the one that's been buying all their merch. But I wanted more from him to have that switch of opinion about her life.
Yeah.
Because he liked the restaurant, but I don't feel that he had enough of a growth moment about her until the very end, after they get back together, which I want to get to. But he doesn't have a moment before he goes after her where I think he's changed his opinion of her enough. He's done work, I think, for himself, but I don't think he did enough to think better of Sasha and what she's doing with her life.
Yeah, I think I agree with you about that he didn't get over some of those kind of class resentment issues, or she's not connected to her family anymore. Whereas she does eventually grow that connection to her family, but he doesn't recognize that necessarily until he sees her change based on his feedback, based on her, conversations with her family. So yeah, I agree with you that like he seems to be moving forward in his life, but I don't know that includes a growth and respect for her choices.
Yeah. Again, not until the end, because basically what happens, like, he goes to the restaurant, Vanessa is there, and that's how he finds out that Sasha has bought all this merch, and she must still love me. And he goes to a suit store because he's like, I'm going to go to New York for this awards show for her. I'm going to show up for her. And he goes to a suit store. He goes, my friend Keanu Reeves sent me. I don't know if you've heard of him. And they're like, oh, of course, champagne. It's beautiful, like, sartorial montage of him trying on a suit. And then he sees one of the articles is $12,500. And he does a champagne spit take. And then we see him at like a bargain bin getting, oh, you get a suit that's good for a court date or whatever. So
for $291. Yeah.
Yes. But so then he goes to the award thing. He has like a moment on the red carpet. He showed up in a suit because he's like, I'm not in a t-shirt this time. And he does have like a little speech, and they do have this big kiss on the red carpet. But again, he hasn't, like, he's there to support her winning this award, but I don't think he's done enough work to be like, she is making great choices. She is doing good things, until the big reveal at the end is that the new restaurant she's opening is only focused on home cooked food. It's his mom's recipes, and the restaurant is called Judy's Way. And he has a moment of, oh, I was wrong. She is connected to her history and my family and the good old days. That's after they get back together. And I wanted him to have a change of opinion about her that was bigger before he saw that she had done this restaurant. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I want to rewrite.
And I wanted her to, well, I think she did the same thing. I wanted her to soften. I wanted her to react to his voicemails. I wanted her, yes, once they get back together and she opens the new restaurant, you see that connection to family, to home, to, you know, to their descent, to their culture. But it was missing for me because all of the growth was his. It was almost like, well,
because it was a dual POV movie essentially, and we lost her POV almost completely in the third act.
She aside from her parents showing up to her house and saying, we paid full price at your restaurant, we didn't even try to prove that we knew you, that was the only growth that she had at that point. So I was a little bit disappointed there that like she didn't maybe just like go to a smaller apartment in New York or start volunteering in New York. Something like that would have shown her growth of being a part of a community again. Not just she bought his merch because she has money and she wants to support him. That was really the only way that she showed support for him, was she didn't show up for him at all. She didn't change her behavior. She just changed her menu. So I wish that she had done a little bit more to show that she was not just supportive, but like accepting. I think there's a difference between supportive and accepting.
Yeah, I agree. Any other thoughts on Always Be My Maybe?
I didn't think he was that good of a rapper.
It was a very distinct musical type.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I understood that, you know, you have a limitation to what you can show in a movie in 2 hours. So I was going to give him the pass there. But, you know, you asked what are my final thoughts. There it is. I thought there might actually be too much Keanu. I thought that scene dragged out too long.
No, I don't care. I will always take Keanu.
I was like the scene with them at the restaurant I thought was one of the best in the movie, and then the scene at the hotel I was like, this could have been cut in half.
That was a little bit long for me. I agree. The hotel room scene was a bit.
But like I would kill this person. I would do that. Like all of those like would you rather things. I think that could have happened a lot faster. And also I didn't think that Sasha had a reason to be mad only at Keanu and leave with Marcus. I think they were both wrong.
They were both assholes. I agree.
They were both terrible. So I didn't appreciate that part. But I knew that Keanu was just meant to be a catalyst for change. He wasn't there to be like a love
He's there
triangle.
for a good time, not a long time.
It's true.
Yeah. One of the my last thing that I just want to say was Ali Wong did an interview with NPR about this film, and one of the things that we traditionally see in rom-coms a lot is like a makeover subplot. It doesn't always have to be sartorial makeover, but some big makeover. Marcus gets that a little bit. He's going to change his apartment. He's going to do all these things. But one of the things that she said that viewers really picked up on the fact is that Sasha's character always has glasses from start to finish.
I loved all her different glasses. It got me really excited.
Some sort of makeover where like the girl loses her glasses and lets down her ponytail and all of a sudden she's hot. Like Ali Wong is hot. But she said that one very specific choice that she made was Sasha's going to have glasses the entire time. And I was like, I love that for you, Ali Wong. Well done.
As somebody who wore contacts for 2 decades and now I've had to pretty much be forced to go back to glasses, I love the glasses choice.
Beautiful.
I have bought like 4 pairs of glasses this year because my eyes hurt when I wear contacts now.
All right, Meg, what did you ship the most about Always Be My Maybe?
I think I liked that each of the characters had an individual arc, which is something that you want from a story, but you don't always get. Sometimes you get one character, you know, we'll call it more of like a women's fiction arc where there's a primary protagonist and then the other person is helping them to grow, but they don't necessarily change. But in this case, both of them had very clear growth moments that made them better people apart from each other. It wasn't falling in love with each other that made them better people. And I really appreciated that. And then also just the scene of the ridiculous gastropub restaurant, I think was just, it was gorgeous. It was just hysterical. It was, I was like doubled over in laughter. And I think, okay, here's my third thing that I ship about this is the Asian representation and the choices to really make sure that this was a smart casting decision that showed her vision, not just one token Asian or Pacific Islander, but like the choice to cast across the board. I just loved that. What about you, Nikki? What did you ship the most about this? On a rewatch, especially since I had not seen it, but you have.
I think this is probably the third or fourth time I've seen it. other than the absolutely perfect Keanu Reeves inside the restaurant scene.
Yes.
I think for me, I'm gonna go with two because I'm indecisive. One is the side characters and the witty repartee.
Yes.
Mr. Kim, Vanessa, Jenny, like the dialogue they have with the main characters is so funny. And it really shows Ali Wong and Randall Park's strengths as writers. They are phenomenal writers. Because she also writes for Fresh Off the Boat, which is what Randall Park was on. And that's how they know Ninechka Khan, the director. She directed Fresh Off the Boat.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. She's directed over 100 episodes of that show. I think she was the primary director and maybe the showrunner with Ali Wong. I don't remember. But like, I loved all that dialogue. Michelle Buteau is fucking hilarious every time she was on screen. I just couldn't stop laughing. But for me, it was her showing the Judy's restaurant and the way that she was making kimchi jjigae and brought him in there and showed him the menu and it said Judy's Way. Yes. And then their dad is at the restaurant opening with his Diana Ross impersonator girlfriend. And on the wall is his mom's unfinished painting of him, his dad, and his mom. I wish it had happened a little bit earlier and been a part of the reconciliation rather than after. But I just thought that was such a beautiful moment. I thought it was very touching. And again, it showed Sasha recommitting to why she got into food in the first place. That I wish Marcus had a similar change of heart that was of that size. But I just love that moment. I thought it was so sweet. I wasn't expecting it. So when she walked into this really kind of small restaurant and showed him the menu and his eyes get watery, I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. I love that moment. I thought it was so good. Amazing. All right. Well, before we get into what we're shipping this week, you know what you should do right now as you listen to the dulcet tones of my voice? You should head on over to your podcast provider of choice, give us a rate, review, and subscribe. Because then you'll always be my baby, Mariah Carey, for doing that. And I love you very much. Meg, what are you shipping this week?
I told you last week that I was going to do the 3 books in the trilogy over the next few episodes. Book 2 of the Christmas Notch co-write between Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone is A Holly Jolly Ever After. I told you that the first book in the series is an actress who gets sick and cannot make it, and they have to recast her at the last minute. This actress comes back. She has been a Hope Channel staple. She was raised in a very conservative household. She has been like the hallmark character actor. She met her ex-husband on set where they were both in this super sort of, we'll say, clean, quote unquote, style of movie. And they got divorced. And now she's trying to pick up her career again after the divorce. And she's been cast into the new Hope Channel movie. But now with the first book's movie was such a big hit that they are now launching a side called Hope Channel After Dark. And it is much spicier and racier. And so you have this very sheltered main character paired up with the second member of the defunct boy band, who is now a pizza mogul. He owns a ppizza shop or a pizza chain in Kansas City called Slice
Domino's
Baby
himself.
And so, you get her kind of sexual awakening to an extent. She was married for 15 years, but she was very sexually unsatisfied. Her husband cheated on her because he said that she was too cold, but like he never did any of the work to make sex good for her. And so you get this couple that is exploring each other. You get a bit of a like, let me teach you sex relationship going, and you also get her career, his career growing, him trying to balance his family, and he's sort of like the like fun fat boy band member. So you get some of those body image pieces coming up. And so it was just a delightful little romp of, the sheltered heroine who is now in a porno and is supposed to be showing off like how to behave. And she's acting like she's having orgasms and has never had one in her life. And so everyone on set knows because she doesn't look like that. She looks like she's demonically possessed. So that's book 2 in the Christmas Notch series, A Holly Jolly Ever After. Nikki, what are you shipping this week?
Oh, man. Oh, okay. All right. So for me, it's Demon's Desire by Colette Rivera. So it's book 3 of the Lovers of the Dam series. And basically the first 3 books follow these 3 fallen angels who are called the Hounds of Hell. who are like Lucifer's brothers. Only one of them is a blood brother. But basically they fell to Earth centuries ago. They trapped Lucifer in the other realm for starting shit. But now kind of like Lucifer is out and they're trying to deal with Lucifer and potential demon politics and invasions and things, while they're also finding their fated mates, which is something that's one of the reasons why demons fell, was they wanted to find their fated mate, because fated mates were reserved only for people in heaven, essentially. And they wanted theirs. But a lot of them, they've been on Earth for so long that a lot of the brothers don't believe it's even possible. They think it's a lie that they were told. But then the first book is the first brother finding his fated mate. The second brother gets his fated mate. And then
the dominoes begin to fall.
Exactly. Well, book 3 is about Onyx, who is Lucifer's actual blood brother. And he's the one that's like, I don't want a relationship with my brothers. I don't believe fated mates exist. Like, fuck you guys. But also, why do you keep ignoring me and leaving me behind? I didn't want to fall. I only fell because you guys were leaving me. So very emotionally distraught character. Of course, he meets his mate, and it's the witch friend we met, I think, in book 2. So it's just a lot of drama. Lucifer is around causing shit. He's trying to deal with his fated mate. Drama. I really like Colette Rivera's paranormal. This is a lot of angst in this one because Onyx, little baby Onyx, has a lot of really big feelings about things. And we actually get to know why he's such an asshole to his brothers, even though he loves their mates and he loves like inviting his brothers' mates out to go eat great food. He's taking them on like a culinary tour of the city, and he says to his brothers, like, fuck off, I don't ever want to see you, but I do want to hang out with your boyfriends. So he's really kind of fun in that way. He's a little bit of a shit disturber, but also she has set the stage so well for book 4, which is about Lucifer's book. So I don't want to spoil it, but it's really good. There's a lot of drama. I won't say it ends on a cliffhanger, but because it doesn't, but there's a lot about Lucifer that you're like, motherfucker, I want book 4. So thank you, Colette Rivera, for making me have to wait until probably February is when the current publication date is again. She typically doesn't move ahead her releases, but yeah. Demon's Desire, if you like paranormal, fallen angel, fated mate stuff, do it. Colette Rivera. It's awesome. Coming up next week, we're taking a little brief sidestep out of Friends to Lovers, but we're talking psychopaths and vigilantes and why we love them. Honestly, I'm sure we can find some Friends to Lovers in here. We're going to be talking with the hosts of the Feral Fandom show. Only James and Shannon and Zell are going to be here with us next week, so tune in then.